This is Hindhead, where I grew up. Now, it might seem like a sleepy Surrey village now, but it has a grisly, dark past. Spooky Surrey. We've got murders, we've got executions, we've got plane crashes, serial killers, devils and witches. Even a mine explosion. So watch on for a Halloween stealth camping special for the Stealth Camping Alliance October Challenge, which is about everything spooky. Whoa. Things that go bump in the night. I'm not just talking about the stoners up on Gibbet Hill. Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. First, I'm going to see a devil about Punchbowl. This is the Devil's Punchbowl. It's not very Punchbowl-like, but if you see this on a winter morning, we've discussed before how cold air is trapped by valleys, and this is like a deep valley. You get the mist forming at the top of the Punchbowl, as if like it is a punch bowl and the steam is rising. It's quite a mad sight, and I used to see that when I'd go in the morning. My dad used to give me a lift, looking out the window, half asleep, and then early morning, and you see this mist rising. And it's not being very devilish at the moment. It's named after an old folklore, which I don't know if you can see them from over here. The Devil's Jumps, which are down in Church, and we'll be visiting those, are where the devil was supposed to live, and that he was annoying Thor, the Thursley, which is just down this way. And there's two versions of the story. One is that it was annoying Thor by jumping over the Devil's Jumps, and Thor scooped out the punch bowl and threw it at him. And the other one is kind of that opposite, that the devil was flinging earth and created the Devil's Jumps in the distance, and then created this to annoy Thor. Because Thursley, Thor's place. This is one of the first National Trust properties. I think it was 1907. The fact the A3 is now in the tunnel, and we'll see that because I'm planning to go down to where the A3 still is. But that was after I left. Random art. There's apparently quite a lot of random art here now. It's kind of weird coming back here, seeing what they've done with the place. That's the Devil's Punchbowl Hotel. I've stayed in there a long time ago. But I'm surprised with all this stuff about the National Trust, they've allowed this to be built. This is new and foul. Pretty horrible wimpy home stuff. Yeah, I'm sure it's a lot more expensive. Yes, we are back on the Greensand Way. This is part of the Greensand Way. I said in a previous video that the Greensand Way goes where I used to live. Well, here we are. At some point I will walk it properly. It's just kind of intersected bits of it. We're going to go up to Gibbet Hill for the first spooky story. It's also where I'm planning, he says looking around to me and listening, planning to camp around there, because I seem to remember the woods up there, it's fairly flat, not so traffic like the Punchbowl. And yeah, that's looking out towards Hazelmere. Is that way down? I can't remember if it's way down. Also, there's something called the Temple of the Four Winds, which I didn't know about. So we've got several things we're going to look for. It's so weird to be back here. As I say, my dad, nearly 20 years ago, he sold up the family home. But I grew up here from the age of 7 until my 20s. So formative times of being a teenager hanging around places like the Punchbowl and not really appreciating all of the nice things that were on my doorstep, because I wanted to be, the big smoke. Scenery. I talked about the heather and the gorse. Well, here we are. Add in some pine forests and some ferns, and this is basically where I grew up. You can see probably why I quite like Scotland, because it's very similar to this. In the Punchbowl, there were broom squires, people growing and creating brooms. Someone wrote a novel about them. In fact, many novels written about this place and what happened here. Nicholas Nickleby mentions this place. Arthur Conan Doyle and George Bernard Shaw lived here. It was a very fashionable place in Victorian times, was Hindhead. But before then, It has a much darker past. And just imagine what it's like in the 18th century. Things were much more wild. This was a wild west around here. You had highwaymen and thieves. It wasn't like today where you can just jump in a car. Someone might steal your car, but you know. Gibbet Hill. And therein lies a tale. This is the second highest Surrey hill. The highest is Leith Hill. I thought it was Botley Hill. Apparently Botley Hill's a few metres short. I'm sure we'll get many shots of this. This is the Celtic cross. And this, well, commemorates an execution. Because there used to be, as you might guess the name, Gibbet Hill, there was a gibbet on here. 3 famous criminals that were hung here. Erected in 1851 by Sir William Earl as the justice. And it was to exercise a particularly dark moment in local history, which is that there was an execution of 3 men on here. And that was because of the murder of the unknown sailor. September of 1786. There was a sailor going back to his ship. He was quite well off and very generous. He was in the Red Lion in Thursley, which we'll go to, showed 3 people his largesse, left with them, and then was never seen alive. What happened shortly after is they found his body. He'd been nearly beheaded and stripped of all his clothes. Because the body had been found so quickly, they managed to catch up with him, and they were trying to sell the clothes in a pub in Rake, which is a village near here, tried in Kingston, near me, and then executed on the spot in April 1787. Now, this story of the unknown sailor is why Bram Stoker came here and wrote what is a lost story of his before Dracula, a short story for the Daily Express, and that was only recently rediscovered in like 2015, and that is set here because of that crime. And it's very strange. It's like a psychedelic fever dream. It's got Indian children in it and trances and strangeness. And Turner came here and wrote poetry and drew and painted the gibbet, which apparently was still here. He was making a joke about the T, the shape of the T and his initials. Very dark part of local history, but it's not the only one. I have many more stories like this. Post tenebrous lux, post obitus salus, in obit lux, I think, in luce spes. I don't really know Latin. I did actually research this. I've done loads of research, but actually the board over here tells me, so I don't have to call it up. Light after darkness, peace in passing away, hope in light, salvation after death. Nigel Hardy still going. Wow. It's amazing to have a bench to commemorate not dying. Respect for that. Like it. This is the route of the old road, and that's one of the old turnpike markers.
This is the Sailor Stone, one of 2 stones about the murder of the unknown sailor. It reads, erected in detestation of a barbarous murder committed here on an unknown sailor on September 24th, 1786, by Edward Lonergan, Michael Casey and James Marshall, who were all taken the same day, actually no, 6 months later, and hung in chains near this place. Whoso sheddeth man's blood by man shall his blood be shed. Genesis chapter 9 verse 6.
There is actually a curse on the back, because this has been moved several times. Cursed be the man who injureth or removeth this stone. There have been people scratching into it. Maybe they regret that now. In 1932, it was moved again and the curse struck. 1 man suffered serious injuries, and another died an early death. So don't mess with this stone. That's an amazing view for a very dark event.
Yeah, I didn't realise. The bodies are up on the gibbet for 3 years and then brought down in a storm. How Halloween is that?
And we'll see tonight are there any ghosts of the executed or the murdered man who haunts Gibbet Hill. In there is Undershore, which is where Arthur Conan Doyle used to live. That was empty for a long time actually.
So I'm glad it's being used. Oh, they've done a lot of work on it. It didn't used to look like that. It's not undershore anymore. Did they knock it down? I think they knocked it down.
And by the A333, which is what was the old A3, we have the St Edmund's School, and this is where George Bernard Shaw used to live.
This did not exist before. I don't think. No, it didn't. Wow. We're going under the A3. Ooh, scary. Inappropriate. Scary eyes from scary dogs.
The A3 of old, you actually had pavements down it. Now they've completely walled it off. I grew up living on this incredibly busy road, a motorway and all but name, and it still is. This is my route to school. My dad would race down the A3 a little way, turn off here. It was always a bit fraught, that turn off. Warning, MOD training area. Do not touch suspicious objects. Yeah. There is a history of military things on this, which is Bramshott Common. And also we've got Bramshott Chase, Ludlam Common. It's all kind of the same thing, but separated by the A3. Now, if you've been here first weekend in August 1991, it would have been very noisy. Not just because of the A3, but because there was a legal rave here. The Spiral tribe came here in this lovely, lovely environment, and everyone having fun, and the locals being really annoyed by the noise. I was too scared to come. I heard about it, I saw it, I saw the vans. Now, the reason why it's mentioned in this is that a very gruesome thing happened to one of the people attending that event. Dinah McNicol was an 18-year-old student. She hitchhiked with a male friend. So he got out of the car and then she was never seen again. That was the spooky thing, is I was about the same age as Dinah McNicol. And so it kind of hit home that there was this person who came to this event, a legal rave on a common near me, and then was never seen again. For years and years after that, in the local press, had all these calls, or missing person calls. Many years later, a man called Peter Tobin was arrested for the murder of a young girl. Now, when they started researching his properties, they found bones, and one of those were sadly of Dinah McNicol. This was like 2007, so she was missing for decades. And Peter Tobin killed 3 women. So he's thought to be maybe Bible John, and there's also other murders, but currently he's serving 3 life sentences. We are right on the border of Liphook and Hindhead, so it always gets said that the event she was attending was in Liphook, but actually it's very close. It's sort of Liphook-Hindhead border. And I'm going to the next thing. So I used to play on ranges, especially around Aldershot, Farnborough, and here. Even convincing my friends not to go in testing minefield ones. Yeah, the teenage friends wanted to go into a minefield. That's how stupid they were. But there have been military usage of this common since World War I. Canadian troops were stationed here in a place called Bramshott Camp and Ludlam Camp, and there's various camps. Left bunkers which we used to play in, so I'm going to try and find one of them. New shoes, and guess what I do? Step in cow's mess. That's annoying. I looked up, they're listed, knew roughly where they were, but I haven't been there since I was, don't know, about 16 or 17, so which was a very long time ago. I know roughly where they are, so I'll see if I can find them. Yeah, I'm getting a bit worried about time. It's about 5:30. I want to find one of these. I'll tell you another story. If I find one, I might just tell you anyway. We're losing the light. Can't find these bunkers. They were somewhere around here. Hopefully I won't find them and suddenly disappear. We used to play in these bunkers up on Bramshott Chase, which are somewhere around here. unless they've been filled in to stop the cows falling in. These underground bunkers, and you could go in them. They were quite solid. They were, unlike the pillboxes, they were quite big, and I didn't go in them because I was so scared. My friends did. There were steps on both sides, and you could sort of dip between them, and they were quite mad things to have right in the middle of the woods. But yeah, I was too chicken to go in them. Shortly up this way is Bramshott Common, which they were part of. In 1917, this is what I found in my research, 6 soldiers died from a mine explosion. They were mining, and I don't think they were digging into the ground, I don't think so. But I think they were testing mines. So that's another bloody story for this area. Yeah, I think time to get back. It's going to be dark in half an hour. I really wasn't expecting random art. Yeah, random deer art on the Huntham Langham estate, Bramshott basically. Mist. The mist. Unfortunately, I would have been here earlier, but it happens to be that Hindhead has the slowest fish and chip shop in Christendom. It took 20 minutes to get a haddock and chips. So yeah, it's misty up here. Very atmospheric. Just had someone put their lights off and cycle past me without any lights on. What the hell are you doing? That's a very, very bright moon. Apparently you've got nearly supermoon tomorrow night. But it's a pretty big moon tonight. It's had 3 lights on the horizon. I don't know if they're planes or hot air balloons or small aircraft. It's a bit low for big aircraft. But yeah, so you can't see most of the moonlight. I will take pictures though. That seems to work. Much more spooky in red light. Gigantic slug. Yeah. Tent is up. Not in a great condition. I had to wait because there's somebody making noise on the Gibbet Hill. I didn't want to draw attention. I was going to go back up there and camp up there. I had to go to a more open location further down. So you can see me. I'm actually having a hot chocolate and brandy. I'm probably going to bed because I'm really knackered. I think I can risk it. It's all quiet from upstairs. And that woman, it was all girl, on top of the hill. It wasn't witch or something. I did actually wait for ages, like 5-10 minutes. I stood there and didn't go anywhere, and I was like, it's weird because it's quite a way down here from where they are, and I can't see their light in it. I assume they can see mine, but still I could hear every once in a while the wind blew this way. I was like, just go to bed. Yes, the chair. It is nice having a chair, I have to say. It's nice to have something before you draw a mattress so you can just rest your feet. But yeah, I want to see if I can use the pump. No, not something from the Blair Witch Project. I'm in a little hide just to break up the shape of the tent. I know it's not exactly camouflage. I'm not going to go and find greenery, but just from over there you can see the top of the tent, you see. Not so visible. Hello. Morning. It's 8:30 and I'll show you where we are. Yes. The chair. My chair, not Paul's chair. And the same chair that Paul had. It was very disappointing fish and chips. And that's the little sort of hide I created, but I still think I'm very visible here. There's lots of these forts around here, so it kind of fits. It blends in, you see. Fort. Oh, little hide. I was going to get some water and come back. But given I'm hearing voices, people are actually coming through, and they're coming through here because I heard a gate from over there. Look at those kind of gates, very noisy gates on the Gibbet Hill, which is just up there, and down there. You can hear them going down the gate there. Yeah, quite visible. Yes. Not as hidden as I'd like. I was going to build a whole hide, but I didn't really fancy doing the whole thing. But yeah, that's very visible. Not very stealth at all. I had got a more stealthy in the woods position up there. After midnight, someone came up. If I'd filmed it, I would have given away my position lightly with the light. Or possibly, I don't know. I was actually chatting to Molly on WhatsApp. And the WhatsApp was making pinging noises, even though the phone was set to do not disturb focus. It was not a good night last night. I said that happened 3 times. And someone came through about sort of after closing time, probably coming from the pub. They were noisy, but it just came through, and I was like, okay. And then there was this group just after midnight, like 12:15, who were up on the Gibbet for ages, making a lot of noise. I had to switch off my phone and just keep really quiet, because I knew that if I made noise and pinging noises, or if I can hear them, they can hear me. And there was just the Gibbet Hill has loads of people, loads of stoners, I think. Loads of stoners and drunk people go up there late at night, even on a Monday. I would have expected that on like a Saturday or Friday night. I would have expected that then. I need to get this tent down because it's too visible. I had the tent down the fastest in a long time. Literally just 5 minutes, put it down. See someone else again. Then I record these shots. I always record these shots, and I don't always put them in. Of course, I leave no trace. And apart from maybe some scuffles, and I've taken rubbish away and some extra rubbish, as everyone should do. Take more rubbish. At least take your rubbish out. The very minimum. I didn't find any pegs this time. And I'll leave my sculpture. Random art. Well, it's not really random art, but I suppose it could be random art. Random art. I'm going to see if I can find this. This is something I didn't even know about myself. It's only when I did the research, which we're just coming up to. So down there, May 1945, it would have been a very different site. It would have been a very fiery site. On the 6th of May 1945, a Curtiss C-46D, a US military plane repatriating US soldiers, was flying too low. It flew about sort of 600 feet. And of course, Devil's Punchbowl being Devil's Punchbowl, and the area was covered in low cloud and mist probably. In here, there's something called the G Tower, which was a radar tower, a wartime thing, because there's nothing there now. It wasn't marked on the maps. It hit the tower, tore off its right wing, and plummeted below. Killed a person in the hut on the radar tower, and all 30 on board. Apparently the guy who was on duty sent everyone off to the pub and died. RAF had a station on Gibbet Hill until 1958. I'll see if there's some kind of memorial about it, but I didn't know about this. We weren't taught about this at all. Because local school would talk about all the local historical things. This was not mentioned at all. And it's so sad because that's just as the World War II was winding down, so it's just sheer luck really. I'm a plane crash nerd, and I was like, I didn't even know about this. So it's kind of mad that I grew up here and I didn't know about this until I did a Wikipedia search. Yeah, I don't see anything around here commemorating it. Appropriate, an aircraft going over it. Just at that point. If someone chainsawed the little thing here to get over the fallen tree, why didn't they chainsaw the tree? I'm going to another place I didn't know about, that apparently it's only very recently been recovered. Temple of the Four Winds on Hurt Hill. I've never been to Hurt Hill, and this would have been even quieter. I've seen hardly anybody down here, but no one down here. Whereas, yeah, Gibbet Hill seems to be very popular. Had some very weird dreams, but nothing spooky, sadly. I dreamt that I was walking, long distance walking. I woke up walking and the backpack was gone. Some people I'd met had got me drunk or put me into a trance or something and stolen it. But I was trying to work out who those people were from my photographs. Obviously they hadn't stolen my camera. I was like, oh, I visited here. So it was weird because it was a series dream, because I sometimes dream in multi-part series in the night, like, oh, and this. Sometimes wake up, go back to bed and continue the dream. So it was all night, this long trek. Very strange. Also, I'm sad that I meant to show you the Punchbowl in the morning with the mist, but sadly all those stoners up on Gibbet Hill, it's till early morning. I was just knackered. I had to go down to Histamine as well because I've been having problems with my eczema, and before I knew it, it was 8 o'clock. Maybe that's to do with the lodge that was here, which you will see shortly. It's a shame it doesn't exist anymore, but that was there. This is Temple of Four Winds, which was built by Viscount Pirrie in 1910. There he is. He's quite cute. And owner of Whitley Park. There's amazing scenery. I learned a very interesting fact. I'm also a shipwreck nerd. And what's the biggest shipwreck of all time? The Titanic. The guy that built this was the chairman of Harland and Wolff, who built the Titanic. It's a shame it didn't survive. This would have been a grand edifice. It sounds like it was just too decayed. So that's Temple of Four Winds. But when I lived here, I don't know if you'd seen anything because it's all overgrown. That was great to find. A link to another tragedy. There's little bits around here that suggest there was other buildings. It was originally part of Whitley Park and then was given to the National Trust in the 1950s. Pines and the ferns. That's making me feel more at home. We had the gorse and the heather yesterday. Finally sunshine. It's been grumpy all day. Renamar. Obviously it's got the Celtic cross on it. I'm not sure if this is the route of the old A3. I think it might be. Breakfast at the Punchbowl. Though I should be having punch, I suppose. Well, I'm facing at the cafe, but yeah, it is a nice scenery behind me. And as usual, having porridge and coffee. I forgot to bring the nuts and stuff, but yeah, we've got the jam. Of course, we had to have jam with porridge. Breakfasted on the Greensand Way. Yeah, I spoke to a lady at the visitors' den at the Punchbowl, and she told me about the crash a bit, and she said that they don't make a thing of the crash site because it's a resting place, though she wasn't sure who made that decision. But I'm surprised there isn't a memorial somewhere. I understand not making the site. That does suggest there's something at the site though. Luckily there's a little high ground, but you can get a bit boggy around here. I wouldn't call it green sand, I would call it more like black. It's more like black and muddy. Not green at all. 3D in maps, can we just not do that? My Osband has gone into 3D mode and I can't switch it off, and it's just, you know, it's like, I don't want it in the first place. It's like one of the most useless features. You can see where you're going in 3D, you can't see anything else, it's useless. Please don't do 3D mapping. On a screen, no, you do not want a tilted view, you want just a normal map view, you know, like edge on. You don't want any sort of angled 3D bobbins. I had to Google to try and work out how to switch it off. That is not a normal UI. Usually you click on the, I think in Google you click on the direction indicator, or it used to be, it would just switch it off. Not anymore. We're going to go and see a grave, yes. And then some jumps. Mad to think this is the route the unknown sailor and his assailants were taken. Seen a lot of quite impressive fungi around here. Maybe because I'm a fun guy to be with. I've not done this walk. I can't believe I've never actually... I'm not sure if I've ever been to Thursley. Several miles away, and there's no buses there or anything, so you have to walk there and walk back again. When I was a kid, a 2-mile walk was a long way. Yeah. So, it's nice to have some sunshine. In fact, I think I'm actually going to take my fleece off now. Getting some hiking sweat going. That's not hiking sweat, that's fat. Seen that before? No paths. There are a lot of these rabbit paths, sort of ad hoc paths, and they quite often end up being lost in rhododendron or gorse, like here. So, yeah, beautiful. Amazing routes. Amazing trees. Yeah, this is getting more into a classic Surrey lane. I'm still on the Greensand Way. I haven't gone to Thursley yet. It's about a mile away. Maybe a mile and a half away. This is the Greensand Way. That's taking offensive fences a bit far. Oh, and barbed wire, thank you. Yeah. Eesh. Right. I didn't really want to go the lane way. You never know, these things are rat runs. We've got nettles, we've got brambles, we've got high hedges and barbed wire. My favourite. Yeah. I'm some kind of landowner, because there's a kind of detour at this point. And it gets darker. The original owner of Whitley Park, Viscount Perry, bought it pretty much a fire sale, was because
Whitaker Wright.
I don't know if I got that right. Was a Victorian financier who was caught in a scandal and then killed himself.
Rather dramatically, he took a cyanide capsule in the Royal Courts of Justice just after he lost his case. He's also famous for having an underwater smoking room, which is still there, under Thursley Lake.
The more I dig into this area, the more kind of little bits I didn't know about the history, which are quite dark, like the Titanic, or like that plane crash, along with the curses and the devil things, and the paganism with Thor, oddly. In Thor's place, which is where we're going to, Thor's place. So here's the grave in Thursley of the unknown sailor. I don't know if that was where the Red Lion was. No sign of it now. There doesn't seem to be anything in Thursley anymore. Classic Surrey. You see, no footway for 600 yards. Luckily, there is actually a trackway. Planning a course through lots of footpaths because I know how bad the roads are in this area. The big problem is the Tilford Road, because when I get to Devil's Jump, there's no real easy way back to Hindhead. Descent into Surrey madness. This is the Truxford Brook. It's looking very beautiful, quite clean. I'm sure that you could probably filter that. It looks like there's tracks along across, I think, Rushmore Common, being another range. That's, I think it was Rushmore. That's a mine testing field, I'm not totally sure, but yeah. I remember going with friends of mine to Rushmore Common to look for unexploded ordnance. Nothing really dodgy, but like blanks. That thing when you're a rat run road and desperately trying to find a footpath off of it. What did I say? I know the gym mod stuff here. It's a training ground. Defence Training Estate. Hankley Common. Oh, this is Hankley Common. Yeah, Hankley Common, Rushmore Common. I've been here before a long time ago. And yeah, they use it for training. Yep. Long time no see, Hankley Common. Wow, yeah. But a lot of the commons around here are used for MOD. They're MOD rangers. When I said I spend a lot of time hanging around MOD rangers, it's places like this. Because they are supposed to pick up everything after themselves. the pongos get cautioned, I think, if they lose something. Let us recount for everything. But they do. They do lose stuff here. And you will see bits of thunder flashes and blanks, fired blanks and stuff like that. You are supposed to pick them all up now because I think they recycle them. Like cost cutting, the brass is worth a lot. But back in the day, they didn't used to bother. You see, my military obsession started young, though I'm not interested in being in the army. Being in the ATC was enough. Yeah, I can't march for crap. Oh, it's good to be here. Just be careful what you camp on. It's a bit like old Winchester Hill again. Yeah, be careful when you're putting your pegs in, like a bang. Apparently a lot of Bond films like Die Another Day and Skyfall have been filmed here. I assume probably doubling to Scotland. In the case of Skyfall, I suspect it was supposed to be Scotland. And Doctor Who. Oh wow, why not? That's either the Thursley Road or the Tilford Road. Great. There's a lot. I think it's just because my legs are a bit trashed. I sort of rushed here because I don't want to leave it too late. Oh wow. So this is Stony Jump, and these are the Devil's Jumps. This is ironstone, which is part of the Greensand, but it's a special kind of ironstone, apparently. There are myths connected to this place as well, like everywhere around here, connected to the Devil's Punchbowl as well. Someone that I missed out. I didn't do my research for the North Downs Way. I was naughty, a white witch of Waverley, Mother Ludlam, and she lived in a cave which is still there, that is gated off near the ruins of Waverley Abbey. So I wish I'd seen that. I didn't know about it until I did my research for this. So Mother Ludlam had her cauldron stolen by the devil. As she chased him on a broomstick, the devil jumped 3 times, creating the 3 devil's jumps in church. He disappeared into what became the Devil's Punchbowl. Some amazing views though, even if it's not. This is apparently like 32nd tallest Surrey hill. We've gone from the tallest to the 32nd tallest. I like this one. Yeah, it'd be a bit public to camp here. Had a nice lunch on Stony Jump. Yeah, those are the other 3 jumps. One of them had an observatory on. Beacon Hill. That's our turn off. So funny, this felt like a really big hill when I was a kid. Like a little bump. That is the house I grew up in. They haven't really changed it. All they've done is built a massive hedge. We didn't have that hedge, we just had the wall. The rowan tree's still there. Garage is still there. And that was my bedroom. A brick called Shirley. I was going to say I spent many an hour in this stop missing buses because they quite often wouldn't turn up. I'm hoping they'll actually turn up today. They've actually changed it. This is not the same bus stop. On the other side it is, on the old wooden ones. I was going to do another camp down at Blackdown, but there's nothing spooky about that. And also, my legs are knackered. I did a lot of walking, more walking than today, and I thought we're going to do. Yeah, I think we're going to call it a day here. So I hope you enjoyed this spooky Halloween stealth camping Alliance edition. And I hope you like and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. There are more videos like this, more of my trips, more one-offs, lots of big plans. And I hope you enjoyed my journey down memory lane a bit as well. Surrey Hills, Holmbury Hill and Leith Hill videos. I'll put them on screen now. Look after yourselves. I'll speak to you soon.